Shalom, shalom, Israel. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High God and His only begotten Son, the Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. With that being said, I want to get into this lesson that is dealing with the Holy Land. Now, if you don't know what the Holy Land is, who it belongs to, the current state of the Holy Land now, then, this is what this video is for. I want to thank everybody for clicking on the video and receiving, this knowledge and edification. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the Holy Land is the land that the Most High God promised to His chosen people, the children of Israel. And we can get the basis of that in the covenant that He made with Abraham. Let's jump to Genesis 17 and 7 and 8. Now, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, and verse 7. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Now, this is the covenant, this is the basis of the covenant that the Most High God gave to Abraham. And this is basically saying, He's giving them land. This is the promise that He's going to give to Abraham and his seed, which is including Isaac, Jacob, and all the rest of the children of Israel. And let's jump to Numbers 33, verse 51, real quick. Now, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 33, verse 51. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye are passed over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and pluck down all their high places. And ye shall dispose the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it. Now, this is essentially the Most High God, giving them the promised land, kicking out all those that were in there before, defiling the land. And this is just going to show, where the promised land is, and it is in the Jordan area, or also the land of Canaan, which is also commonly known as, modern day Africa. Or you could say, Middle East too, because the Middle East was previously part of Africa before, modern geography changed it. But let's now jump to Exodus 12 and 23. Now, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 23. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when He seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe these things for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. It shall come to pass when ye and it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you, according as He has promised, that ye shall keep this service. That old English begins to me. But this is basically saying, when we come into our land, that the Lord has given us, that such as customs like this, ordinance like this, which is also part of the Feast of Passover, that we put blood upon the, the doorpost, and on the side post of the door. That's supposed to be an ordinance, something that we are supposed to be keeping in the land, according, also going along with all the laws, statutes, commandments, all throughout the Torah, Deuteronomy, Numbers, Leviticus, and Exodus, and according to the original 10, which is in Exodus 20. But now that we know that, and we have established, what the Holy Land is, who it is for, let's go into specifically where it is, like, landmarks and, geological locations. And let's jump to Mark 1 and 5. Alright, now this is the book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 5. Or we can start from 4. Mark 1 and 4. John did baptize in the wilderness and preached the baptism of repentance for the remission of sins. And there went out unto him all the land of Judea and they of Jerusalem, and were all baptized of him in the river of Jordan, confessing their sins. Now, if you might have reasonable doubt that the Holy Land might not be in Israel, in the Middle East, where Jerusalem is. Here we can see in the New Testament even that John the Baptist was baptizing people in the river of Jordan, which is geologically aligned with where the modern day Israel is. We can also add to Matthew 2 and 1. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 2, and verse 1. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there was wise men from the east to Jerusalem. Now, I don't want to go into a whole, issue with the 3 wise men, but, let me actually jump down to verse 13. Yeah. So this book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. So this is basically saying, the Most High God told Abraham, through the power of his angels, not Abraham, Joseph, through the power of his angels, his messengers, to take Christ while he was yet a child and bring him into the land of Egypt. Now, if Egypt and Bethlehem was super far away, this wouldn't have been, something that could have been done immediately. But if you look at the map, Bethlehem and Egypt is only 40 miles apart, which is that's a car drive, at best an hour car drive. Now, concerning obviously Joseph didn't have cars, but rather be riding a chariot or on foot, that's not much of a journey still. All of the provenance and the landmarks and all of that, they're roughly very close. The lands are not that far apart, which is easy travel distance. It's not too far apart. It's not too hard to put 2 and 2 together. And just for a little bit more on top, we can go to Ezra 5 and 13. Found in this book of Ezra, chapter 5, and verse 13. But in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Babylon, the same king Cyrus made a decree to build this house of God, and the vessels also of gold and silver of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem, brought them into the temple of Babylon. Those did Cyrus the king take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Sheshbazzar. I believe that's Slovakia if I'm mispronouncing that, whom he had made governor. And he said unto him, Take these vessels, go carry them into the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let the house of God be builded in his place. So this is basically I believe this is the captivity of the Maccabees, not the Maccabees, Slovakia, the Persians and Medes, where, not really a captivity, but we were still under, technically their banner, where they let us rebuild the rebuild the temple. But this is just more evidence proving that, this is where it historically aligns, and you can check and see through modern, media where the temple is, the ruins of the temple, and it still is located in modern day Jerusalem. Now, with that being said, we're going to go into who's there now, and why they're there, and why the children of Israel are not there. The true children of Israel are not there. And we're going to jump to Deuteronomy 28 and 25. Now, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Now, this is essentially saying that the Lord will cause us to be kicked out of our land. And if we jump down to verse 15, which I'll get right now, and it says, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, going back further up and reading verse 25 is basically saying that we will be kicked out of our land if we're not keeping these laws. And as we can see now, the real chosen people are not in the land. But even furthermore ways we can get that, let's go to Zechariah 7 and 13. Now this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 7, verse 13. Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts. But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate. And this is basically saying that when we were in the land, we did fornications in the land, which goes to back to verse 20, Deuteronomy 28 and 25. If we're not keeping the laws of God, that this is what's going to happen. We're going to be kicked out of our land. And we can go to Leviticus 18 and 26. Now, this is the book of Leviticus 18, chapter Slaki. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 26. Slaki, family. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, before which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew ye not out, also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. Now, here's the Most High saying that if we do fornications, or we do, the things that are against His commandments, against His laws, we're going to get spewed out. We're going to be cast out of this land. The land is going to spew out. So, like your family, it was a lot technical difficulties with technology issues, but let's get back into it. Now, last verse off, we last left off on Leviticus 18 and 26. No, I'll just read it again. And it says, Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew ye not out, also when ye defile it, as they spewed out the nations that were before you. Now, this is basically saying that if these nations, if these acts are committed, then we will be spewed out just as the nations before us have. And this is obviously seen throughout, countless times throughout the Bible. The Most High God has constantly put Israel under captivity, captivity after captivity after captivity, from Assyria, from Babylon, Persia and Medes, the Maccabees, dealing with the Grecians and Antiochus, and up until the last captivity, which is being Rome. We have seen us get put under captivity, taken into different lands, and dispersed among the nations. This is a prophecy that's foretold. But just to prove who is there now, we can jump to Joel 3 and 2. Now, this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all the nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Then, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your head. And because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Now, what this is basically saying is, and it might have been a lot. What this is basically saying is, this is whom the Most High God, not who the Most High God. This is whom have taken the children of the Most High God. Have sold them into captivity, and that have put them through their anguish. Not only that, but have brought travesty upon his land, raiding his temple and taking his, as he said, his goodly pleasant thing. And this is all seen through the siege of 70 AD, and the Tyre and Zidon in this situation is the children, not the children, but the residents of Africa. As you may know, they say Africans sold Africans on the coast, but we know that Africans actually sold the Israelites on the coast of, on the Ivory Coast and Gold Coast of Africa, West Coast of Africa, and they sold us into the Grecians, who was also now Romans. Um, this is basically going into how this is done and who had done these things. We can also jump to Luke 21 and 20. Now, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 20. And it says, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with children, that were with child, Salakia, and to them that give suck in those days. And for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captivity into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled." And this is basically a prophecy going into the siege of 70 AD, when the Roman army had took siege over Jerusalem, and had essentially brought Jerusalem down, fulfilling the prophecies of, as we can see here. But furthermore, this is basically just going into until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. To this day, we are still not in our land, and Gentiles have control over the land. There's no peace in this land, and we know from I believe Ezekiel, I'm going to get it to Ezekiel 37, that until the Most High God brings his children back into the land, that there will be no peace in the land. So let's jump to Ezekiel 37 and 21. Now, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 21. "And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them over on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation." Now, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, and verse 21. And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation and a land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, Salakia. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, Salakia, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Let's just jump down to verse 26 to further the point. "Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore." Now, here we're stating that not only will the Most High God make us one nation again, will take us out of our captivity, and cleanse us of our transgressions, but he will also establish peace among us. Now, if you look at all these things, none of these things are being practiced or seen in the land of Israel today. There's mass killing, the bombing of the Palestinians. Also, it's just war across the board. I believe they just bombed majority of Lebanon, and not including the war with Iran. I believe Iran. All these things taken into account, there's no peace. And then furthermore, I believe Israel is one of the major countries that still like you do major LGBTQ parades, and we already know that that is not sodomy or anything dealing in that nature. The Most High God does not deal with or does not take pleasure in. So how can this be not only the people, but how can they be, how can the things that I've just listed off, not be true? So, and also when it comes down to dealing with the two kingdoms, if you ask them or any quote unquote Jew, that the northern kingdom is still, they still lost. So how can these be the people? Now, Israel, with that all being said, I don't want to waste your time any further. Um, but as we can see, that these people that are in the land right now are not the chosen people. Furthermore, so they are only defiling the land even more. Um, so when it comes down to it, I'm gonna end it off with this verse right here. Let's go to Second Corinthians. Now, this is the book of Second Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 14. And it reads, "If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent unto the prayers that are made in this place. For know, for now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually." With that being said, Israel, let us awake from our slumber, let us turn from our wicked ways, and let us, serve the Most High God. And not only just serve, but have faith in His Son, the Mashiach Yahushua, and His return. Let us, effortlessly, put effort into being the righteous people that we truly are, being the special people that we truly are. And with that, Israel, I say Shalom.